All right, here we are, Pennsylvania, Susquehanna Smallmouth fishing. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's cold here. It's colder than the last 2 years of my marriage. A little bit of a confusing morning. I just heard a Lionel Richie country song, so hopefully everything sorts itself out once we get on the water and the world's right again. Lionel Richie, country music. Just doesn't work.
We're putting in here on the last little bit of the Juniata River. We're gonna float down to the confluence today, and there's a couple winter holes on the float we're doing. We're doing a shorter one today, and I was out here recently, and the jerkbait bite is definitely on, so it should be a lot of fun.
What? Have you ever seen this much powder blue look this sexy in one spot before? I'm just saying.
We got ledges and trenches, and basically as the suspending jerkbait drifts along, it'll come across the top of one of the ledges. You give it a yank and then let it pause, and usually right as it comes across the top of that ledge, that's when they hammer it. We got 49-degree water temperature today, or that's what it was yesterday, and today we have gusts up to 37 miles per hour.
All right, so here we are, Marysville, Pennsylvania, the famed Susquehanna River. I got Jeff Little, a good friend of mine and fellow Wilderness Systems Pro staffer, showing me the ropes today. A couple months ago, Jeff joined me for some largemouth fishing down in my neck of the woods, and when Jeff joined me, we tried to get his personal best largemouth. We got a 413, didn't quite beat his personal best, but today we're gonna try to get me my personal best smallmouth, which will be anything over the 4.3 range as well. So let's see if we can't find that big hog.
This is actually the spot where I've caught my coldest smallmouth ever, 32.4 degrees on a hair jig 2 Decembers ago. The suspending jerkbait bite doesn't work quite that cold. The colder it gets, the longer you want the pause to be. There's one. Hi there. All right. I just felt a little bit of weight there. It wasn't a real hard hit. Oh, is he pretty? First one of the day is always beautiful. See ya, fishy. Chad's got about every different color of blue possible today. He's even got blue on the on his kayak that clashes with the other blue, on his paddling jacket, his pants, his hat. Hey Chad, what color are your eyes?
You know, my love for smallmouth fishing compared to chasing other game fish, and you know, for me it's you know, chasing smallmouth is of course exciting, but to me it's also being on the river. It's the environment. You know, it's just being one with nature, as some would say. Nice 18, 19-inch Susquehanna football right there.
Nice fish, man.
A nice fish.
Stay tuned. When we come back, the boys continue their battle against wind and cold while on their hunt for big smallmouth. Welcome back to Kayak Bassin TV. This week, Chad Hoover's on the Susquehanna River in Pennsylvania for some late fall smallmouth fishing with smallmouth expert Jeff Little and Aaron Dryden. After fishing around the confluence of the Juniata and Susquehanna, Jeff decides to take the guys downstream where the river pours over some rock ledges and smallmouth love to feed.
All I'm doing is the same thing I was doing with the jerkbait, is lining it up with the downstream side of a one of these ledges, getting it down into that deeper water, letting it get down, ripping it up, gathering my slack as it's going down, ripping it up. Same way you do for largemouth in the spring with emergent vegetation. There we go. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, off. You know what that is? Look at those big scales. Nothing hit that. I ran this thing into a carp. A huge carp. I can see them up on the top of the ledge. Crayfish are just crawling right along the top of it, positioning just like the smallmouth do. They position just on the downstream side of the ledge, and they sit there with their claws open waiting for anything to pass over. As they're doing that, the smallmouth are coming up behind them, just picking them off.
There's a bump. There's a bump. There's a bump. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh, fish. There he is. There he is. These fish are lethargic as heck because it's so cold. I was just barely clicking that clacker along the bottom. Felt the slightest little tick. He just thumped it. But not a whole lot of activity after that. I don't know if it's because the water got so cold so quick or what it is.
This drops off so hard. Barely got it too. This time of year, their metabolism slows down with this cold weather, and all the calories they eat stay on them. They stay thick. Oh yeah. See, pretty.
We all have tools that we use that are part of everything that we do when we get ready for any type of activity. And for me, that tool is ScoutLookWeather.com. From its interactive quick log web portal to where you can go back and review some of the information that you've inputted in the water on your mobile app, to the detailed hourly forecast, to fish marks, easy marking the spot when you catch a fish, gathers all the weather information, inputs it, uploads it to the system so that when you get home you have all that information there. ScoutLookWeather.com, I'll be honest with you, I use it not only when I'm planning my trips, but I use it while I'm on my trips. I pull up the weather app and look at where the wind's coming from. There's no telling how many times that I've headed out since I started using ScoutLook and the weather was forecast to do one thing. Just before I go out on the water, just as one last measure, I check it, everything's changed. So you get to use the map, you get to use the information that you gathered prior to the trip, adjust your strategy, and get out there to where you're going to be in a place where the conditions are more conducive to catching fish. So all the tools that are available at ScoutLookWeather.com make it the ultimate tool for not only planning, but for making adjustments while you're out on the water to keep you in the fish.
Stay tuned for more kayak bass fishing action.
So here we are, we're on a little tributary off of the Susquehanna. We started a little bit further back up river this time towards a winter pool. Aaron and Jeff's headed up a little bit ahead of me. We're in a really small tributary. This is the bigger part of it. Jeff swears there's some pigs in this hole, so we're gonna see if we can get on some fish. Looks like Aaron's already got one. Nice. You know, really there's about a half a dozen adjectives that come to mind to explain Jeff Little, but there's one that just sticks out in your mind, and that's intense. When Jeff's fishing, he has an absolute singular focus. I get pretty intense when I get on a trophy hunt when I'm trying to catch a big bass, but I still like to goof off and cut up and play around. And I'll tell you, when Jeff gets out on the water, he turns into a bird dog and he's just on the hunt. And you know when he's getting close to a fish or he's had a fish pick the bait up because he just kind of hunches up and arches over and goes on point.
There we go. Braided line helps a great deal with feeling the bite. Oh, that's a big one.
I know lots of great anglers. I know lots of anglers that have really good species-specific knowledge, but I've never met a guy that is absolutely as obsessed or as intense about one species as Jeff Little and his pursuit of trophy smallmouth. All right, so the wind is kicking our butt yet again. I'm having a hard time picking up a fish on the suspend and jerk. They seem to be keyed on that one color that I don't have, that Jeff Little has. Jeff and Aaron have both picked fish up on that, so I talked to Jeff a little bit about, you know, confidence. What bait is it that I can get that I'll have a little bit of confidence in? So he handed me this. It's kind of fitting that I'm a little bit frustrated and we're about to go try to bang out a smallmouth because he calls this the bird. So I'm actually gonna go flip him the bird and see if I can finally hook up on a fish after paddling in 350 circles today. Ooh, fish, 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 fish. Oh. Don't jump, don't jump, don't jump. Whoa, come on. Nice fat fish, pretty fish. Oh, look at this. Looks like she's got an old battle injury. Only got one eye. Must be the reason I was able to catch her today, because she's only got one eye. So I must have threw it to her good size. It takes a lot of skill to catch a fish with one eye. Even in the most demanding river conditions, the one thing that I haven't had to worry about, whether it was standing up, swinging side straddle, running a rapid, or just maintaining position, has been my Wilderness Systems Ride 115. The ride comes in a 135 and a 115, which is an 11.5 foot and a 13.5 foot version. But this 11.5 foot version with the adjustable seat, the large standing area, the increased cargo capacity, Orbix hatches, is the ultimate in river fishing performance. So for the ultimate in stability, gear capacity, and river performance, check out the Wilderness Systems Ride 115.
The challenges involved with fishing for smallmouth in the colder months go beyond dealing with cold weather. Since the bass are so lethargic in the winter, finding the fish is half the battle. And so that's what Jeff Little's going to help us out with in this week's Kayak Fishing Tip, brought to you by Wilderness Systems, makers of the Ride, Tarpon, and Commander series of premium fishing kayaks.
What I have the guys doing now is something I talk about in the fall DVD. It's called drawing a grid. And basically, since we don't anchor in these kayaks, we're taking passes down through there. I'll open the bail for this. Say this is our pool. We're gonna pass down this side and you make a cast and move down, another cast, move down, another cast. And then when you get towards the end of it, you move diagonally back up and you do another one and another one and another one. So you've drawn a grid where you've covered all parts of the pool with this suspending jerkbait presentation, and that really helps us locate the fish. You know, in a winter pool like this, they run laps, they move around, and once you find them, you've found a bunch of them. So it's, you know, the suspending jerkbait is a great search bait. It's a great cool water search bait, and once you find them, then you can bang on them with other stuff like tubes or other small soft plastics, hair jigs. But the suspending jerkbait finds them.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me share something with you on the side. Kayak fishing is a physical sport. And if you guys out there that are out of shape or thinking about getting into the sport, I just want you to back up a little bit and take a look. This is not something that you want to get into unless you're in absolute stellar physical condition. So admittedly, I'm struggling today to catch fish, and Jeff's been watching me, and like any good guide or teacher, he's watching what I'm doing, telling me that I'm moving the lure too much. So the big thing is to not do anything. You almost have to have a what he calls a staring contest with the fish. You put the lure in place and you let it sit there, and then the first one to blink, and in this case blinking is moving it, and so the first one to blink wins. And generally, if you can wait out the smallmouth, you'll win. More often than not, though, we have a tendency to blink first. Ooh, there he is, there he is. Let me give him a little line. Ooh, yeah, there he is. There she is. It's in the current, so I don't know how big it is yet. It's not that big. Little guy, but it's a fish. All right, so let's take a quick look at the tackle that I was using today. Didn't get a lot of fish on this trip, so it was even more important to find the right combination. I used the G-Luma Senko rod, which is a 7'6" rod with a really fast tip and a stiff butt for setting the hook. I coupled that with a Corrado 200 E5, which is a low gear ratio that helped me overcome my tendency to move the lure too much by slowing the gear ratio down, so that even with a little bit of reel turn, I didn't move the lure little or if at all. So I coupled that with 20-pound braid for extra sensitivity and decreased surface area so that the current didn't have as much of an effect. And I went to a Seaguar fluorocarbon leader. 20-pound braid, 20-pound Seaguar fluorocarbon leader, terminated with the Confidence Baits bird. So I asked Jeff for something that was going to give me the ability to maintain bottom contact, something that the fish would pick up without having to impart a lot of movement on it. He gave me the bird coupled with the dragon head, and you can find these at confidencebaits.net. Hey, thanks for joining us. You know, I didn't get that personal best that I was looking for, but everybody caught fish under tough conditions. I gotta thank my good friend Aaron Dryden and Jeff Little for showing me the ropes. Jeff got that monster earlier in the week. That's what we were looking for. We weren't able to get onto it, but it's these tough conditions and days when everybody else stays at the house is the day that you catch that monster. So until next week, join us for another kayak fishing adventure. You know what? Whether you're new to kayak fishing or you're looking to give kayak fishing a try, visit Hook One at kayakfishinggear.com for the latest in kayak fishing accessories, kayaks, and you know what? If you don't see something that you like, give us a call and we'll make sure we add it. Wow, nice fish.
Blech.